Hi guys, for today's video, I'm going to be talking about which dolls do I prefer to collect, Monster Highs or Bratz? There really is no debate here. I'm just going to be talking about what I really like about Monster High and also what I really like about Bratz dolls. Also guys, just a little heads up is that I'm going to be pretty indecisive in this video, so don't mind me. Thank you! You guys know I grew up with Monster High. I had so many Monster High dolls as a kid. They really bring me the most nostalgia. But I do have to say, when I was starting to get into my adulthood, Bratz dolls is what really made me fall in love with doll collecting in general. So let's start with Monster High dolls. I will always prefer Monster High dolls, no matter what. I grew up with them, I love them. Most of you Bratz collectors grew up with Bratz dolls, and that's why you prefer Bratz, because you grew up with them. With me, I necessarily didn't grow up with these. I grew up knowing about them, I had movies, but I didn't really have a lot of dolls. And when I was 8, I got my first Monster High dolls, and then ever since, I've always fallen in love with Monster High. Monster High is very unique. I've always loved like darker colors. When I was younger, I never really liked the color pink. I was never really a girly girl. I always loved sneakers and all that, and when I saw Monster High, I was like, oh my gosh, finally something that's not super girly, super pink, because you guys know Barbie was like all about that. I was never like that when I was younger. And I saw Monster High dolls and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is exactly what I love. And these dolls were actually like the first dolls that I ever fell in love with. I love the overall darker aesthetic and like all the monster stuff. I've always loved it. Now into my adulthood, of course I still love it. Of course I still prefer it. I still love all the fashions, all the high heels, the darker color schemes. I love everything about it. In the doll world and collecting, I honestly would say I prefer my Monster High dolls because I think it's a lot easier to get these cheaper and they're easier to come across by. When it comes to my Bratz, it's really hard to come across these dolls somewhat complete. Let's just say locally, it's somewhat hard to find them, having most or a few of their accessories. That's the biggest struggle that I've had with my Bratz. My Monster High dolls, I guess since I grew up with them, I know how to identify them easier. And I'm sure some of you guys can say that with Bratz. I have easily now identified a lot of clothes, but there are some accessories that I personally own, Bratz stuff, that I cannot identify. Like it takes me forever to find them. Monster High dolls, piece of cake. If it was just her shoes that I found in a doll lot, I will know who it will belong to immediately. My Bratz, pretty challenging sometimes, really depends. But when it comes to buying used dolls, Monster High dolls do fluctuate in pricing along with Bratz, but honestly, I find a lot more cheaper prices when it comes to Monster Highs, and I know prices that are good, also if they're complete or not. I do struggle with that with my Bratz, but I'll get into that in a little bit. But overall, I think I do prefer collecting Monster High dolls just because it is easier finding them online and it's more accessible than when it comes to Bratz, because most resold dolls online that are Bratz dolls are from collectors, just from what I've seen. But that's not always the case. Now you guys are probably wondering, okay, like if you love Bratz, like why do you always post like Monster High dolls? I get into phases where I love certain doll lines, so as for the past couple months, I have been loving Monster High dolls a lot, and I've been really trying to grow a lot more of my Monster High collection. I do really need to grow more of my Bratz, but I've really been in the phase of loving them and also reaching more of an audience, because most of my audience is Bratz collectors, but I collect Monster High dolls too, so I want to post more Monster High content. And of course I collect Ever After High dolls and Rainbow High and Shadow High and some Barbies, but really my biggest priority is my Bratz and Monster High dolls. But as for now, my face is really into Monster High as of recently, and when you just like grow up with something, it's just something that you really love, something that you're stuck to, and I love them, and I do, like I said, want to grow more of an audience of different collectors, so that's why I've been posting a lot more Monster High content. I know you guys miss my Bratz content, but still, I just really want to reach more people, more Monster High collectors, and overall just meet more people. Along with my Instagram and my TikTok, it's just something that I really love, something that I just enjoy. But when it comes to like the buying perspective, I would have to say Monster High dolls are a lot more easier for me to identify, and also the prices and all of that. Of course, with Bratz, like, I can get into it, like, but I don't know, I just have to say that, like, I prefer it, but sometimes it's like, okay, but I love Bratz too, so they both kind of like even out, if that makes sense. Sometimes it's like I gravitate towards more Monster Highs just because I'm just more familiar with them. Overall, with aesthetics and all of that, I can't really choose between Bratz and Monster High, just because, yes, I grew up with Monster High dolls, but also in my adulthood, I love Bratz. Bratz really made me the woman who I am today, and I say that because they made me fall in love with dolls again. They made me really change my whole perspective on dolls, and if it wasn't for me finding them at the flea market, let's just say, I probably wouldn't have this Cleo in my hands today. I wouldn't have this entire collection. I wouldn't be here today. And with Monster High dolls, they changed my whole perspective of growing up and being yourself. It's just something it's kind of hard to debate on because they both have their own thing to them, and but buying Monster High is in for the wins. As for Bratz dolls really changed everything for me. I say that because Bratz dolls were the ones who made me get back into dolls, right? And not only that, but they helped me learn more about different fashions, which is so true. I was like, no, they never did. And then when I recently started getting into fashion, I was like, oh my gosh, I am heavily influenced on these dolls. Before I started collecting Bratz, I was never into makeup. I was never into fashions. I started wearing makeup, just mascara and lip gloss, when I was a sophomore in high school. And then once I started collecting Bratz, I really fell in love with fashion. I really was so obsessed with it, and I really didn't explore my identity until I started collecting these. And also, I started getting more into fashion as of recently, like starting to want to dress like a baddie, like buying all these dresses, buying all these heels, but I was always like into that. I just never really pushed myself to be like that. I just was never into it, and I feel like Bratz really helped me influence and change my whole perspective when it comes to makeup. And also makeup too. I really started getting into it recently, like doing a full face, but I started getting into like my lip combos when I first started collecting these, and I was never into that. My biggest inspiration is definitely Bratz. Like, I always want to dress like a Bratz doll. I always want to dress like a baddie because they are just so beautifully dressed, and the designers did so amazing. Definitely ahead of their time. I love it so much. I recently started getting into makeup and fashion a lot more. I was slowly getting into it, and they really influenced me to push myself to be like that. So thank you, Bratz. And also meeting different people, and also having my doll content, my doll YouTube channel. I really would not be here if it wasn't for my Bratz dolls, and my Bratz dolls will always have a special place in my heart. I do really wish that I grew up with these dolls, but everything came down in a line, like it all worked out. And I'm glad that I started collecting these when I was almost an adult. I was 17. Was I 17? 2020. 4 years ago. 21, 2019. Yeah, I was 17 when I first started getting into these dolls, and I was almost 18. So I think around that time, it really just all aligned with each other, and how I have a whole different perspective on dolls. But when it comes to like buying these, I have a really hard time finding them for a really good price. That is like my biggest struggle. That's why my collection really hasn't grown. My collection has not changed, and I really hate that because I need to grow more of my collection. Like, I have been wanting to get more Bratz dolls, but also it just makes me so unmotivated to get dolls because of the prices. So like I was telling you guys, I have been wanting Step Out or Funk Out Jade, either of the two, and I cannot find neither of them for like under $40. And with my Bratz dolls, I have a certain amount that I'm going to spend. That's how I'm able to save money, because if I overspend, then I can't get like another doll, let's just say. I am very picky when it comes to prices, and maybe that's why like I just haven't gotten any dolls in months, because like I just refuse to spend a certain amount. But it just makes me so unmotivated. I cannot find like a decently priced one that is somewhat complete. Like, I wouldn't mind if the doll is like missing like the top or like the earrings. I prefer it for sure. Like, who doesn't prefer having a complete doll? Like, what? I wouldn't mind it, but I also just cannot find one that like is decently priced, that is somewhat complete. Because why am I gonna buy a nude doll for $30 something when I could put that that $30-something into more expensive doll that is fully complete, or an inbox one that is fully complete. Like, it just really doesn't make sense to me sometimes. And I'm like, these prices are just ridiculous. eBay isn't too bad, but I really need to get into more research again because I have been lacking of collecting dolls. Besides Monster High dolls, just finding good prices. I think the last Bratz doll that I got, like the Wild Type Safari Boys that I was showing you guys, those were the last ones that I got. But like, let's just say off of eBay or like Mercari. Let me check because I don't really remember. So on Mercari, my last Bratz doll that I purchased was Girls Night Out Sasha. Girls Night Out Sasha, I bought her for my birthday, but I bought her back in August. And eBay, holy crap. Oh my god, guys. I haven't bought a Bratz doll off of eBay since 2021. Holy crap. I did not know that. Hello? I'm gonna get a Bratz doll sometime. No, I've been trying to get a Bratz doll, guys, but I literally just cannot find, like, the perfect one that I really, really want. Of course, I want a lot of Bratz dolls. Of course, I want to grow more of my Bratz collection significantly, but I also really need to manage my money and make sure that I am not overpaying for a doll, or sometimes, let's just say I bought her for 100. I hate when I buy an expensive doll and then I see her cheaper for, like the next couple weeks. That happens to me so many times. Like, I see her for cheaper and she's complete. It's like, I should have just waited, but it's alright. Overall, the dolls, I honestly love both of these so much. Bratz gravitates towards my adulthood. Monster High is more towards my childhood. This is nostalgic purposes, and this is who shapes me for the woman I am today. Because all my fashions are inspired by Bratz. I love the overall aesthetics and, like, you know, being a baddie. Like, I love that so much. And each doll has their own uniqueness, and I just love Bratz so much, and I love the community more as of recently. When I first got into the Bratz community, I was not into it. People were so mean to me, but at times they are really nice. I completely disassociated myself with it, but as of recently, they have been amazing, along with Monster High people too. Just like they both have their differences, they're both uniquenesses, you know, they have their disadvantages and advantages. And with Bratz being an adult and shaping who I am today, I will prefer them 1000%. As for my Monster High dolls, with recollecting them as an adult and seeing their uniquenesses, I still really love Bratz, but with my Monster High, with recollecting, they're just a lot easier for me. They are just so much easier, more accessible, because they're more newer than Bratz dolls, and it's just something that I really prefer when it comes to collecting, because they're right there. They're handed right there. Bratz, it takes a lot more research, a lot more dedication to really get the doll that you really want. Me being 21, I love my Bratz dolls so much. There are times where I will be in my Bratz phase. I'll post all this Bratz content, and then I'm like, oh, let me post some Monster High content. So it's kind of funny how that works. I'm sure you guys are like that too if you collect other doll lines. Like, you're like, one day, let me just talk about Rainbow High. The next day, let me talk about Monster High. That's how it helps you, like, really reconnect with your dolls. So let me get out of my Monster High phase and talk about my Bratz more, because I really need to focus on my Bratz collection and grow that a lot more. That's crazy. I haven't bought a Bratz doll on eBay since 2021. What? That's crazy. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that they both even out to their advantages, and I can't really, like, I do say that I prefer one, but also it's like they're kind of even, but really in the main of my heart, the core of my soul, Bratz dolls really helped me be who I am today. Wouldn't be here, I wouldn't have any of my doll content, my doll YouTube, I wouldn't probably have this doll room. Like, yes, I bought out my Monster High dolls, but really, when I bought out my first edition Monster High dolls, like, that was it. That's what I was all gonna collect, and I was done at the dance. Like, I was done. And then I saw these at the flea market, and I was like, oh my god, is doll collecting like something that I'm supposed to be doing? Like, do I really want to collect these dolls at 17? Like, why do I want these? But then I was like, okay, maybe it is a sign, you know? It was around COVID time when this happened, 2020. I was still a junior in high school, and I was like, okay, maybe I'll try this out. Maybe I'll start collecting. Maybe I'll sell the ones I don't want. Sold a lot of Bratz dolls that I didn't want. Then I regretted it, and then I kept pretty much all the other ones that I got at the flea market, and also bought a few. So yeah, I did so many months of research, so much dedication of knowing each doll and what accessory goes to what. It took years for me to even like know what clothes go to what sometimes. And then, you know, that's when I got into Monster High dolls, and then obviously it escalated into getting my Native American Barbies. I wouldn't have the collection today if it wasn't for my Bratz. Like, I really wouldn't have known about my Native American Barbies, and you guys know I love my Native American Barbies. They are very, very sentimental to me. I'm also going to a powwow this month, so I'm really excited. I also wouldn't have my Rainbow and Shadow High dolls. I also wouldn't have my Novi Stars. I wouldn't have anything if I didn't decide to get these dolls at a flea market back in early May of 2020. I was interested in collecting, but I only wanted a Bratz doll that looked like me, and I bought Miss Nevra, Formal Funk, and also Funk Out. Formal Funk and Funk Out Nevra were the first two Bratz dolls that I really bought, and I thought they looked like me. Obviously, I didn't know Dana existed. Okay, guys, okay. I talk about this a few times. I bought them, and I was watching like the Bratz episode like back in March of 2020. Oh my god, 4 years ago that I got her. Oh my god. 4 years ago, I've been a Bratz collector. That is crazy. Jesus. Time flies by so fast. No, but 17 never looked like me. She didn't. I was watching the episodes too, and I decided, you know what, I don't want her anymore. So I sold both of them, and then I was like, I'm just only gonna collect Monster High First Edition and Dawn of Dance. That's it. That's the only ones I'm gonna collect. Then I saw these at the flea market early May, and I was like, okay, maybe this is my sign. So I got them, and yeah, very blessed with the collection that I have and how much I have grown it. And obviously I go through my phases as a collector where sometimes I don't want to collect, and there's other times where I do. And as of recently, I've been very happy with my life, very happy with my doll collecting. I'm sure you guys can tell with all the content that I've been posting. I'm really trying to grow my YouTube channel, and really I can't say this line is better than the other because they both are very special to me, but they do have things about them where I'm like, okay, like I prefer rebuying Monster High dolls than Bratz, but also Bratz has helped me shape to be who I am today. They also help me with my fashions, but also Monster Highs help me with their uniqueness and all that, you know, so it just balances out. But if you guys prefer Bratz or Monster High dolls, please let me know why. I could really easily go more into detail as to why, but really I wanted to go throughout the basics and my main reasons. Sometimes when I just post more dolls than the other, it's because I'm just more into them. But yeah, let me change that up and get into Bratz again because I need to grow my Bratz collection so bad, guys. But yeah, if you prefer either of the two, please let me know, or do they even out for you? Really would love what you guys have to say, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Hopefully it's a Bratz video. I'm trying, okay? So see you guys in the next one. Bye!